that point he could say, well, I could split up the main Marwell farm into yard 15, 18, 19 as separate purchasable plots of land, because in order to get the expanded map, you've got to start a new game. And good evening, Kevin. How you doing? And that's what in Farm Sim 17 Black Sheep Modding did with Oldstream Farm. Version 1 of Oldstream Farm was effectively the village and the farmyard, and not much else. And version 2, they expanded it to add the big field behind the southern cell. Was there 2 cell points? No, there was the 1 cell point, but there were a couple of fields out beyond the cell point, and so they added those 2. They added a field behind the main store. Big field. 2 big fields actually back there, maybe even 3. And to play version 2, you had to throw away version 1 and start over. And then I can't remember whether they called it version 3 or version 2.1. They added seasons to the map as well, or enabled seasons for the map. And the thing I had was I started playing on version 1, and then they brought out the expanded map, and I wasn't, I was just started on version 1. So I figured, well, I don't lose too much to start over again. So, I threw away my save and restarted Oldstream Farm version 2. And then sort of 3 months later they came out with Seasons version of Oldstream Farm, and I just said, I've started the map twice. I'm not going to throw away what I've got and start again. So that was as far as I got with Oldstream Farm. Now I did play a couple of specials just before Farm Sim 19 came out on the latest greatest version of Oldstream Farm, but I only played sort of a 5-hour, a short day on the farm, just showing how I would start up a farm with or without seasons, and so I didn't benefit from any of the expansions from the original small farm. I am doing well. The kids are settling in, and we had our former foster kids over the weekend, and I think that helped the 2 new kids to sort of, they were a little reticent about, at least me. I think there's reasons for that. But they seem to have relaxed a little bit when the other 3 came and showed I'm not an evil monster who's going to devour them like all good trolls and giants. So, good evening, Binpin. How you doing? Haven't seen you around for a while. Yes. And it also had, Oldstream's also had a partially developed yard around one of the western fields, or both the western fields. Said, I don't think you can get version 1 anymore, so I couldn't tell you in detail what the differences were. I played quite a while on the larger, version 2 of the map. And I had to make it subtly different from my first playthrough. I think the first playthrough I played it as a Fent farm, and the second playthrough I played it as a New Holland farm, just so that I was doing something a little bit different. I'm kind of looking forward to when Oldstream Farm gets released for Farm Sim 19. And it does look... It has the same sort of essential feel to it. You know, the architecture is the same. The yards look to be at least similar enough, but it's different enough that it's not Oldstream Farm 17 version 4 for 19 type of thing. It's a whole new expanded map experience. We probably won't get lost driving around it. It'll probably be much the same as we were used to, but there are going to be differences, and it looks like the harvester filled up and I should be emptying it. Yeah, I can't remember, was it a twin silage bunker or just a single? I remember I did build a couple of sheds out there so I could house a bunch of equipment off the main site. So I had a bunch of equipment on the main farm. There was a little yard just down the street from the store, which I put a bunch of greenhouses in, but I also stored some of my equipment off-site, and then I was still having issues with, I need more places to put all my equipment. So I ended up adding yet another few sheds to park equipment there. I appreciated the Black Sheep Modding's when they expanded the map, they at least gave you a very simple way to expand your yard without creating a new yard on the map. I think that that was appreciated, at least by me. And I think it's something that Farm Sim 19 has tried to do, but I don't think it's quite got the placeables right. It's they had the right idea, but I think their implementation wasn't as good as it could have been, I think is the best way to say it. Yeah, now the Massey Pack, I'd kind of given up on old streams by the time the Massey Pack came out, because their Massey Pack was supposed to have been released as part of the mod competition at the end of the first year, and so we had they put that in and then disqualified themselves because they found out one of their modders had copied somebody else's work. So the Massey Pack was pulled from the competition, but they did release it on the Giants mod site. And that's when Seasons came out. And obviously when Seasons came out, Black Sheep went back and modded Oldstream Farm for Seasons, and I just said, I'm kind of ending this here. I want to play with Seasons, and I started playing Lawfolds with Seasons instead. Yeah, terraforming is I've seen games which have the ability to place stuff, but where the stuff you're placing, buildings are fixed, but fences will contour to the ground. So, and part of the issue I have with, even day I saw a review of an open cow pasture, which is basically just a rectangle with the milk collection point, feeding trough, water trough, manure collection, and slurry collection, and then just the cows, when you purchase them, appear randomly within that rectangled area. But there's no fencing, there's no buildings. It's just an open cow pasture. But it has to be flat. And it's sort of... I don't know how hard it would be to have stuff contour with the ground. Obviously buildings need to be flat. But stuff that isn't a building should be able to contour, or if you've got a multi-building pack, then you should be able to have it contour with the land. It's the issue, it's the problem I've got on this farm with the placeables I've put down. There's a huge ramp outside the shed. Well, I couldn't place the shed lower so that it was level with the road and had a big ramp at the back. This chicken area is horrible because I've got a huge divot right here, and then it levels off, but then I've got another huge drop right there. I can't do anything about it because I don't own the road, and I can't get the ground level. So as I pass the chicken area, I'm driving through the shrubs and on the grass here, because to the left of me is almost completely unusable in some situations. If I'm hauling the sprayer on the back, I ground out the back of the sprayer. That up there. I mean, we come over here, and if you look at the chicken area, what is there that needs to be kind of flat? There's this, possibly the caravan, but everything else could follow the grade of the ground. The fence doesn't have to be straight and level, it could be sloped. But can't figure that out. I mean, here I think this bit isn't too bad. That's fairly straight. But you look, this is fairly level. This is on the level, but the road isn't. And so reversing a tractor up to there with the sprayer on the back, I usually hit the sprayer right about here on that ridge. But I can't raise this section of ground because I don't own it. Very annoying. But the only other way around, and Marwell Manor Farm, pretty much the same. Oxygen David has had to incorporate the farm assets into the map through the editor, but by doing that you can't place those assets yourself. You can sell them off and end up with an empty farm yard area that you can put your own stuff on, but none of the placeable assets that you can get, that you can download at the moment, are of the style of, southwest England. So you can't build a farm in the style of the rest of Marwell Manor. You would have to use the regular assets, which means the easy sheds or the machinery shops or whatever. Some American or Central European housing styles, and that's kind of sad, because if I didn't start Marwell with the main farm, I would at least like to have some sheds and other buildings that I could place there that look the part for the area that's represented. But I think, that's kind of a challenge for the modders. If you produce a map, can you produce the building assets that your map's using so that people can place those buildings elsewhere on the map if they want to, create a yard elsewhere? You either end up with the restrictions you had in 17, which is the map maker decides where the buildings are going to be, and they're all hard placed objects that you can't remove. Or he uses in-game assets, like the Alpine Panorama map. What's the other one I saw the other day? There was another one. They're using the easy sheds. They're using, there was one I saw demoed today which used predominantly these sheds around the map, but they were hard placed assets, so you couldn't sell them. It would be kind of nice if you not necessarily. Okay, so he's the map maker has made yards using these sheds. You can't sell them because they're fixed assets on the map. But elsewhere on the map, these assets exist in the game, so I could buy, here's a square plot of land. I'll convert it into a yard using the landscaping tool, and I'll place a couple of these sheds. They don't look out of place with the rest of the map. I know for Farm Sim 17, Black Sheep released some of their shed assets from Oldstream Farm as placeables, and obviously they reused a lot of those on what was their other map? The Valley of the Old Farm. And on the Valley of the Old Farm, they provided you with at least one empty yard, but you could populate that yard with Oldstream Farm building assets because they were released as separate placeable objects. I never actually. I took a look at the Valley of the Old Farm, but I never really played it as a proper playthrough. But then again, when you look at how many videos I've released since I started streaming in September for Lawfolds, and consider I've got about over 530 hours on that map. Once I started on that map, I really didn't play anything else. I mean, that map has issues, but it's a real, it's a good fun map to play. I've seriously enjoyed my time on that map. Although where I've got to now, where I still don't own half, I probably own about half of the southern field south of the store. At least in area, if not in number. But I'm struggling with equipment now. I'm running out of places to put all the equipment I own, and I'm getting to the point where I need a second harvester. I already bought a third heavy tractor, just so that I can do all the work that's needed. I've got one tractor on a plough, one tractor on a cultivator, and the third one following both of them round doing seeding. And then I can run around with a really small tractor with a sprayer or a spreader fertilizing the fields. But when you get that far on a map that has fields the size it is, you need a lot of equipment, and there isn't even the storage space for it all. On Old Stream Farm, even I didn't own much of the map when I was playing it, but I wasn't playing seasons, but somehow I'd managed to have all of my fields were on the same schedule. So I would run around with a plough, and then I'd run around with a cultivator, and then I'd run around with a seeder. And that was the end of planting season. And then I'd move all of that equipment out of the central farm to an off-site store and bring the harvester over and the fertilizing equipment over. And the next couple of days was spent fertilizing all the fields, and then it was harvesting time. And as soon as the harvesting was done, I'd then push the harvester out to the off-site storage and bring the cultivating and planting equipment back, because that was the next job I was going to do on every single field I owned. But Old Stream Farm had a number of off-site storage areas, storage yards, plus you had the big flat area with the two silos on it that you could add storage buildings to, so store more stuff off-site. And oh look, the harvester's empty. Full. Whatever it is. This is empty. I think the harvester's facing the wrong way. Yes, it is. Yeah, my current thing with the law folds is I'm conflicted between I want to buy more fields, but I need the equipment to support the work I have to do. And Seasons hasn't been very kind to me with all the rain. For the last 2 harvesting seasons, I've had 2 days to harvest. And that makes for some very hectic harvesting periods, interspersed with a lot of sitting around twiddling your thumbs and waiting for the rain to go away. Okay, we're still going with you. We're actually making a good amount of money just on the straw. I think we started tonight with about 16,000. We're now up to 22. I have no idea how much wheat we've pulled out. That trailer's what, 12,000? think I've got maybe 36, maybe 48,000 litres at the eastern rail silo. I'm not sure, maybe 24 at this western side. Just don't know what the prices are at the moment. Well, kind of, yeah. It's... I mean, I've said about this setup here. You know, I've got... This tractor's got about 203 horsepower. The other one's about 147. But none of the equipment I've got needs much more than 120 horse. So this tractor's kind of oversized for what I need, but it's big enough that I could go for 5 to 6 meter equipment, 180 horsepower equipment, and it still works. But I don't. You don't need the bigger equipment to work the fields I've got here. It just takes me longer to harvest, plant, plough, whatever, because all the equipment I have is 4 meters or smaller. If you're willing to put the time in, you know, you could do the biggest field on this map with 4 meter wide equipment. It's just that you're probably going to get pretty bored doing it. So what has it been now? It's been about 2 weeks since we last got a map mod added to the mod hub. And Oxygen David has submitted Marwell 1.1. Someone else I've been following as well. Oh, Smetty CMT Software. He submitted his Class Axion 900 back on, I think, the 15th of January. He also submitted a safety weight, which is basically a weight with crash bars to either side. I use one on Farm Sim 17. I'm not sure if I use his on my what is it? Tractor I use for wrapping bales, because it basically runs across the width of the front of the tractor. You've got the main weight where a normal weight would be. But then you've got a couple of arms that protect the front wheels of the tractor. So when you're running a bale wrapper, if you slightly misjudge your approach, that weight, you know, the bumper arms on the side of the weight will push the bale to the side, and thus make it easier for you to trap the bale in the wrapper. So he submitted that. He submitted the Class Axion 900, and we're all still waiting for it. And I do like his work. He does the Axion 800, 900, and the Zerion 4000, and some other stuff. And they're on, you know, they're on the upper side of good quality mods. The Farm Sim 17 versions all include interactive control. Opening sunroof, opening doors, opening windows. The computer control panels off to the side all work as well, or at least all display something. They have on-off buttons. What they display isn't particularly accurate. That's no more a problem than the shiny milk tankers that are now in the game that reflect, you know, an image off them, but the image that they're reflecting isn't what's really, you know, what should be reflected. And basically, I'm talking about these two, where is it? So animal technology, animals. These two shiny tankers, but what they're reflecting there looks more like Felsbrunn. No matter what map you're on, it looks like Felsbrunn, which is a bit of a shame. Oh, tractor's nearly full, and we're coming to the end of this row. I mean, the graphical improvements Giants has made between 17 and 19 are very impressive. The problem is I think there's a lot of compromises went on that kind of detract from it a little. Things like the chrome tanks don't reflect, you know, the landscape as is, and things like that. Bouncy, bouncy. Okay, here we are. No, lower that. Let's put that down, please. Thank you. Did the harvester stop? It certainly looks like it might have. Okay. And he's the wrong way round again. Oh, to heck with that. I'll drive over. So that's more than that tank will take. What I'm going to do is run over to that other field and even up that top edge before we get to ploughing and planting and stuff. So this bit's the original field and is relatively flat. What I didn't realise when I chopped all the trees down was it goes up here quite steeply and then in some places down real hard. So let's see what we can do about that. And that's the wrong button to push. There we go. And we are in the right place. So I want help C shape square. And what are we doing here? Changing landscape, yes. So I'm going to go to round about there, and middle one is smooth, flatten. So I'm going to have to go down at eye level and recheck this. Let's try that, see what this looks like. So there's still a little bit of undulation here. This bit needs fixed as well. So we'll go back to that. Hello. So we were looking at this bit here. And then we'll do that and flatten that. And we'll smooth that edge off a little. Actually, I may bring that land up a little bit as well. Oops, just lost my flat bit there. That's probably cost me a fortune, yeah. Let's okay, there's an obstruction here, which is the problem my harvester was having. Yeah. We'll do that. Oops, and then we will smooth that off there. This is costing me lots. Okay. So I now need to get a plough back to here and plough all this area back up again and see what that ends up looking like. We'll worry about that in a minute. I think the harvester's probably finished doing its emptying thing. We can get that back to harvesting the remainder of this field. That's full. That's probably full, yes. Oh, is that? That's all harvested or withered? That's all withered by the looks of it. That's a shame. We can put that away. Now the sad thing is that top field, when we re-plough it, we're going to have to re-lime everything. I will probably not bother, at least initially. I'll wait till the rest of the field comes up needing lime, and then I'll do it all at the same time. Completed their task. Do we believe that? I guess he did. Just about made it. Okay, what's the prices like? Transport company is still the most money. So we will get there and do that. I think for the rest of what this the harvester has, I'll probably try and fill up the chicken feed. Must admit, when the game started, I was almost convinced that the chickens didn't eat anything. As I started off with about 20 chickens, and I loaded their trough full of wheat, and they made a mess, and so I scooped up the mess, and there wasn't enough room to put the mess back into the trough. And for the first 4 or 5 times that I cleared up the mess at the chicken feed area, I was generating more wheat than I had capacity in the wheat trough to unload it into. So I was convinced the chickens weren't eating anything, they were just making more food. And there was nothing I could do about it. I'm guessing if that was the case, the 1.2 patch fixed that. So that chickens do now actually eat something. Okay, that's the... the hay wagon. You didn't stick your pipe out. Ugh. Doesn't fold until the pipe's in. We can... oof, another big bump there. Okay, this needs cleaned and we'll check servicing at the same time. Yes, putting the vehicle sprayer and that little yellow disc next to each other is a very bad idea. A number of times I've gone to customize a vehicle and ended up with the water sprayer in my hand. Yeah, no, that's not what I planned. Oh, that's the harvester cleaned off. It's stuck on a fence. There we go. And we'll check vehicles. Oops. Repair status. Looks okay. Good enough. Let's put this thing away. So that's done. That's waiting to ship stuff to market. This we will attempt to empty in the chicken feed. Oh yeah, that was the other thing I did while offline, was to clean up the chickens and sell some eggs. $850 left. I'm going to put the lid on the thing and keep what's left for now. We got a couple of days until the the fields are going to need to be harvested again. Oh, also the auger wagon will be available. So that might be a good thing. The auger wagon's got about 1,700 litres of seed. Obviously, once I've replanted 11 and 12, that should be empty. So we can use that for harvesting. And if it's not empty, I can always empty the seeder and refill it from the auger until the auger is empty. Probably should have put a weight on the front of this. Just a thought. Yeah, so I had the 6-year-old driving around in tractors on Sunday evening. She ended up doing quite well. There was the odd time where she missed a field. Why am I turning here? Oh, I missed the turn. And so she'd try and overcompensate. Oh, I need to get back on the road, and she'd overcompensate and end up going that way, and then overcompensate and end up going that way, and then end up going back the way she came. And it's just sort of, yeah, oh, okay, let me take over. But for the most part, she was getting used to the sort of, adjust it gently and bring it back on the track. Ended up driving on the grass next to the road quite frequently, but kind of getting the hang of it. Unfortunately, the 4-year-old doesn't have a clue, and she just grabs hold of the wheel and just does this. So, no, hands off, I can do it. So, yeah, no, you can't. But then you end up with the, oh, is it my turn? Is it my turn? Okay, this should be the store. Here we are. And we need to not do that. Okay, that needs 300 horsepower. We don't have that. That needs 140. That needs 100. That needs 80, and that needs 120. Okay, how big is that one? That's 2 meter. That one's 150, 2.5 meter. That's 85. That's also 2 meter. Huh. Okay, I'm going to get that one and lease it. Now, I think this tractor technically doesn't have enough horsepower for this. Yeah, we kind of need a weight on the front of that. And the other problem with the area I've picked to start with is that there are really no convenient roads between the store and there. Put that in travel mode, that's interesting. I'm not sure whether the power demands of, you know, cultivators, ploughs, subsoilers and what have you is kind of exponential. But it seems that, you know, you either want a tractor that's about 140 horsepower or the next thing you want's about 300. And there's not much in the way of usable equipment between those two extremes. And then a lot of the mod plows are 1 meter 85 horsepower, 1 meter 30, 60 horsepower. It's sort of, well, yeah, but there's also not a lot of tractors in that range either. Okay, so we are here. Well, that still doesn't look particularly flat. Okay, enable fields, allow create fields. That unfold and no. That's lower. Okay. Oh, this is a bit steep. Yeah, way too steep. We'll back up. So come on, there we go. Yeah, there is a problem with the ground in this area. Come on, move. Seriously, move. Thank you. Maybe it's the tractor. I don't know. I'll drive back a bit. Then we'll jump back out again and come back to here. Because this is a problem. Big problem. Okay. Start landscaping. This is going to cost me money too. Yeah, I kind of messed this up. This is not going to work. There is something there. Doesn't allow the terrain to be this is the problem I have with this tool. I've managed to level all of that off. I can't do anything at this point here to... Oh yes, I can. Okay, let's go again. Now let's smooth it. Oh, there you go. That's bringing that land up a little. But that area there, I can't do anything with it. So I've ended up with this huge divot in the field, which is completely stuck the way it is. And that is what's causing the problem with the harvester needing to turn around.